and then there is a extension. Okay, so custom controller and extension, we'll get into those things later on. Let's start talking about the standard list controller today. We'll do a few examples on standard list controller. So first of all, let's create a page. And for the page, what you have to do, you simply have to go and define the standard controller. Okay, so this is what you have to do. You have to go and define the standard controller. Alright, because this is a list controller, because in this page we are going to display a list, you also will define a variable record set var. Okay, so not only the standard controller, you need to define one more attribute on the page component, which is called a record set var. Okay, record set var basically stands for record set variable. So this is a variable that stands for the list of records of that particular object. Got it? You can give it any name, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so this is basically a variable which holds the list of records from account. Got it? So this is what you have to define. Now we are ready. We already have a variable which holds the list of records from account, and now we can just go and create a small page block and say list of accounts. Alright, so this is done. Now the problem is that I want to display list of records, right? So to display the list of records, what I need a table component. Whenever you have to display a list, that has to be in a table format, right? So there is another component called Apex page block table, which we will put here. Okay, table component has two mandatory attributes. One is value, what data you want to display. So in the table I want to display this data, this variable I have defined, this data I want to display on the table. That is one thing. Second is a variable here, again one more variable. Okay, this is a variable for this one, for this expression. Okay, so this is basically an alias for this expression. Instead of writing this long expression everywhere, you can just use this variable right inside the table. Now inside the table we will just go ahead and create the columns. That's it. So now you just have to say A. Okay, A is what? A stands for what? This ACTS. Okay, ACTS is what? Set of records of that account object. So A dot name basically means name of all the existing account records. Got it? That is how simple it is.
Can you repeat last two lines? We have chosen var A for this X part.
Right. And this X, from where did it come?
It is from the it's actually list of record which is coming from account.
Yes,
Okay.
right. So ultimately A is what? A is the list of record.
Yeah, A will be the list of record.
Right.
Okay.
So ACTS
So
is
from
the
that
list of record. ACTS equals to A. Sorry.
From that list of records, we are fetching actually the name.
Name only, right? So what we have done is we have created a column. This column will display only the names. Save it.
Okay, okay.
See. So now we
Jeet,
have.
can you start? Can you explain once again the entire thing?
Okay.
Ajit, if you don't mind, can I repeat that so that it will be better for me to understand it?
That will be better for you, but not sure if it will be better for him also. Okay, just 1 second. Before you explain, just one quick thing. Just look into the code properly, what all things we have used. For 30 seconds, just look into the code, and then we will again, talk about this.
Okay.
Have a quick look into the code, try to understand how things are related to each other. So just 3 lines we have to look into. Standard controller equals account, record set where is acts. You could have given it any name, ABCD, whatever. Okay. Now this is a variable which we define, which holds the list of all the records of this object, which has been defined as a standard controller. Okay. Now when you define a page block table component, in that table component what happens is your you have to define 2 things. One is value. Value means what data you want to display in that table. Okay. So I want to display list of accounts. That's fine. Variable is just another variable for this expression. So instead of using this long name, you can define a shorter name for this. All right. So that is it. Now I have created a column, and in this column I want to display name of all the accounts. So I just create a column, and in the value I say a dot name. Are we able to connect? Yeah, Rohit, you can also explain it the way you want.
I got it.
Now, I mean, because he's your friend, he might understand, what you say better.
I will get it offline.
Okay, right. So, are we all clear on this? Are we fine? So now,
Yeah, perfect.
now the only thing that you have to do, you just have to add another column. I just don't want to see the name. I also want to see industry. No problem. Add one more column. And only change we have to make is value should be equals to a dot industry. Got it? Third column. Now I can copy this entire stuff and just make changes. So earlier what we were dealing with single fields, right? Now we are dealing with columns. So column can display values from all the records. Type, phone, fax. That's it. Your table got created. So in this case, because it's dealing with all the records of account, you don't have to go and put an ID here. Data automatically comes, right? Standard controller, what was happening? We were basically not providing space for multiple records. We just provided a space for one single record name, and that is the reason why it always required an ID. The question that your Salesforce had, that which account are you talking about? Here we have supplied enough space for all the records. We have created a table, so it can accommodate all the accounts, no problem at all with that. Clear? Simple? How to create a table? Okay. So let's create one more table. I'll create it for opportunity, same ways, so that any concept which is not that clear right now becomes more clear.
Jeet, what is the size of record set where? I mean, like
whatever is whatever number of records you have in your object, standard controller object.
okay. Can we make it like pagination or something?
Maximum number of records which can be displayed on a page will be 20. Okay, so you cannot display more than 20. So if it is more than 20, then you have to do pagination. Okay, so in opportunities, in accounts we did not have 20 actually. In opportunities we will do that.
Okay.
So So standard controller equals opportunity in this case. Same way record set where, because I'm going to display a list of records. So just remember this thing. Record set where should have a name. Apex page block title list of opportunities. Apex page block table. And what we will give is value. Value will be ops, right? What should be the value here? OPS, right? Variable, you can put anything. Apex column, or whatever field names, name. So name, amount, stage name, close, date, expected revenue. Okay, right? Got that. Okay. So how many columns? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So let me put account.name here. Select. Okay. Fine. So here we have our list of opportunities, right? So it's pretty similar to the previous example. There are a few changes or few differences between the previous example and this one. One, what I have used here is an account dot name, right? So if you want to display a field from the parent record, right? So all these fields are in the opportunity object only, right? But if you want to display a field value from the parent record, account is the parent, then you can always use this kind of a hierarchy. You can say o.account.name or o.account.industry. Industry is not a field in opportunity, right? Industry is a field of account. But I can always go and say it like this. Others?
Jeet, does it mean that we can only fetch the record with whom the objects have a lookup relationship, right?
No, it means that fetch the record means what? This one, the field value.
Field value also, and this column, this list, okay, yeah, column, this account name or account industry.
So it has to be parent. You can display parent records values also. It can be lookup, it can be master detail. There is no problem.
But they must be having any sort of relationship.
Otherwise, how will it understand, right?
Okay, okay.
Fine. So this opportunity belongs to which account? That is what we have displayed here, right? So if there is no connection between account and opportunity, then what will I display? Correct. So that relationship has to be there.
Okay.
and you can display the data of parent, you cannot display the data of child. That is another thing. So if you are designing a page for the child record and you want to display parents data, that is possible. Okay, but it will not work the other way around. It's more like a child's identity card can have parents name, occupation and all that stuff, but parents identity card cannot have child's name and occupation, because one parent can have multiple child, right? Got it? So that is the thing. So clear on this? Very
So
simple.
you mean to say like in the master detail, the detail cannot have the, like master cannot have the detail of,
Right. So parent
detail
child,
list, right?
yeah, parent, think about it, if we are displaying the data of parent, right, corresponding to one parent record, there is one cell available for displaying child record. If that parent has 4 child records, then what data will be displayed, right? So it does not work that way. It works this way, that child record you want to display parents data, that is possible. Alright.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Alright, so this is one more example. Now, if you look into this, if you count this, these are 20 records. Okay, so your standard list controller is capable of displaying 20 records on a page. Okay, now what happens to other records? If you see, we are here on OP98, OP99, right? So if we are at this stage, which means there are a few more opportunities which are not being displayed right now. Okay, so for that what we have to use command button, next and previous command button. Okay, so after this page block table I can just create fx command button or command link, whatever, value. So there is an action called previous and there is an action called next. Okay, so what is the error? What is the error here? What am I missing? Form component has to be there. Okay. So now this is the previous button, this is the next button. Click on this. It will take you to the next set of records. Fine. So 2020 this way it will show. So right now it just has 2 pages. You can go to the previous one. Got it? So the action is basically the next and previous. And let me also put it in a page block button. Fix page block buttons. Previous, next. Got it? So here is the code. Reduce the size. Okay. Fine. So this is the code. Just have a look at it. I'll just be back in a minute. Just 1 minute.
Okay. Uh,
Hello. Yeah, I'm back. Okay. So we are clear on this, how we are displaying a list and then how we are controlling the pagination part of it. All right. Now let me
Ajit,
go. Hi. Yeah.
yeah, here the table component value like acts or OPS, these must be like a standard one or this is a customized one.
No. This is coming from what you have defined
Okay,
in the record set var.
okay.
So this OPS is something you could have kept it whatever you want.
No, yeah,
My
that's what I
data
asked.
must. So you have whatever you have defined here, you will use it here. Okay. So let me go back to now page 6, the previous page, V6. Okay, now let me continue on this V7 only. That's fine. Right. Now we have understood how to display list of records. Now the other thing is I want to be able to edit these values as well. On the list, I should have an option of editing the values. The form components basically the input field kind of thing, which we saw in our yesterday's example, the form examples, the form component. I want similar kind of a setup here also. So right now it's a read-only thing. I want some of the columns to be editable, like let's say amount. Okay, the end user should have an option of looking into the amounts and make changes into the amount wherever required. So there are two ways of achieving this. I'll copy this page. I'll create one more page with the same thing. With the same code and all, just that will have an edit option. Okay. So here we are. Everything is fine. Amount is something that I want to be editable. The end user should be able to edit amount. So what you have to do, you just have to make a few changes here. For editable field, what do we need? We need an input field component. Remember yesterday we used an input field component. I need input field component. Okay. So input field component needs to be inserted inside this column component. So in that case, what you have to do, you have to start the column and you have to close the column. Inside this column you have to put your input field component. That is it, because I need to insert another component inside this, so that is the reason why I have started column component and closed the column component. That's it, nothing else. Okay, so the way of putting this as a column, by default a column is read only. Okay, if you want to make it input field, editable field, then you have to do this: start the column component, end the column component, within the column component just put the input field component. That's it, done. You see it here. Now you have all these values displayed in the input field format. Whatever changes you want you can make. It's 355,000, make it 15,900, make it, right? So if we just make this change, then the end user will get to see this as an input field. Okay, this amount field appears as an input field. Okay. Alright. Now the problem here is that whatever changes we are making, things are not getting saved, right? So same way you can have a save action here. So when you put a save action on the standard list controller, that will save all the changes. Whatever changes you have made in the entire list, all the changes will be saved at one go, right? So that is what the save action will do here. Same save, same quick save, all those options are there. So that's fine. Now when I look into this, this looks like an input field, right? My requirement is that it should not look like an input field. It should look like this. It should look like the normal data on the table, and I should be able to double click on the record and edit it. Okay, so this is one solution. Definitely you can display all the data as input field, make the entire column as input field, but if you look at this, what has happened, the entire formatting of the data has gone, right? It now looks like input fields. Okay, so this is not a very good view for the end user, right? Now as an end user, if you want that, okay, I want to see the data normally, okay, as read only data, but I should be able to double click on a certain record and make changes. Okay, so to do that, we are gonna do one more example. So let me go and create another page, which is V9. Okay. Now I don't want to display the data in this input field format. Okay, so there is another option that you can use. In that case, you need another component which is called a inline edit. Okay, so first of all, let me make it as it was earlier. As it was earlier, value and everything. Code.mount. Saved, done. Right. Now my requirement is that, okay, fine. If you look into this, now the look of the page is better, right? Now, I want the end user to see the data in this way, but at the same time I want to allow him to edit the data, right? So here it should be a double click and edit. So if you want to double click on a certain record and then be able to edit the record, you have to use another component called an inline edit. Okay, so for inline edit, you just have to add a component here. Inline edit support, that's it. So the moment you have included this component inside your page block table, your page block table allows inline edit. So what is this inline edit functionality? Which allows you to double click on a certain value and change it. Make it 61,000. Got it? Change the stage. Okay, so sometimes what happens is, let's say your telecallers are calling, right? At that time they might not want to go into each and individual record one by one, right? So they start calling. Usually there are a lot of leads which have got into the list. They just want to quickly call and update the status that, okay, did they get a response or not, instead of opening each lead one by one, which takes a lot of time, right? So in that case you can create this kind of an interface for your end users, right? A very common example for this kind of a thing is if you have a sales team and they receive leads every day, let's say they receive 20-25 leads every day, the sales team, okay, every day they log in into their Salesforce account, they open leads object, or they open the tab of the leads and they see all the recent leads or the current leads. Then they start opening the lead, call that, update the status of the lead, and then go back, open another lead, right? Instead of that, if they quickly want to have all the leads, names, numbers, status listed here, they can quickly make changes, keep on making calls and quickly make the changes wherever is required. Got that? Clear? So this inline edit support is clear. So we have talked about three types, three things here. One which did not have an option. So for this opportunity list, we have created 3 pages. First one, which did not have an option of data edit. Second one, which had an option of data edit, but for that we used an input field component. Okay. So the look of the page was not that great at that time. Third is inline edit support, where it looks like an output field and it is editable once you double click on it. Okay, clear on this? So these are 3 things. Now if you try to edit, inline edit support has been enabled inside that table, right? If you try to edit the amount, it's there. If you try to edit the stage, it's there. If you try to edit the close date, it's there. If you try to edit expected revenue, you cannot edit. See, you keep on clicking on this, you will not be able to edit. Account name you can edit, industry you can edit. Why are we not able to edit expected revenue? Can anyone think of it and tell me? Why am I not able to edit this field?
Is it a calculated field?
Yes, it is. It's a read-only field, right?
Got it.
So that is the reason why. So any read-only field, that will not become editable, whatever you do, right? So a formula kind of a thing or something which is auto-calculated or only a read-only for you, you will not have that access to edit that field. But fields which you can edit, you can double-click on those fields and edit those. Fine. Now, if this much is clear with all of us, then there is one more requirement that I have at this point of time. The company wants that the end user should only be able to edit the amount. They should not have an option of editing stage, close date and all these things here. Only one field should become editable, not the entire table. Now what has become? All the fields in the table are editable. Okay. So basically what has happened is, because I have used inline edit support inside the page block table, all the fields in that page block table inside that table have become editable. Okay, all the fields have that inline edit support available. Now my requirement is that not all the fields, we just want it for amount field, not for other fields. Correct? Then what do we need to do? So let me just copy this, make it another page. Put it here. Okay, now what I have to do, it's a simple logic. Wherever you put inline edit support, okay, whichever component you put the inline support in, everything in that component will have the inline edit support, right? So because now I have put it inside the page block table, so everything in this page block table has that inline edit support enabled. Okay, if I want it for a column, then what I have to do? If I just want it for a column, then what I have to do? I have to put it within a column. Sorry, what was that?
Can we pass a value with this say apex inline edit support value amount, value plus support, not amount?
No, nothing like that. What I have to do, I simply have to put it inside a column. Right now it is inside the page block table, so it is affecting all the columns. If I have to restrict it to a column, then I have to put it inside a column. Inside a column means again that column has to have a start and that column has to have an end, right? Simple. So that is what we did earlier also. So start the apex column and close the apex column. Inside this, put the inline edit support. If you just want inline edit support to work on this area, put it inside this. Okay. But just putting the column will not solve the issue for us. Why? Because we have to have something to display the data also, right? So this time we are going to use an apex output field. Value o.amount and close this apex output field. Here it is. So what I have done, I have created an apex column. Inside the column I have created output field. Inside that output field component I have put inline edit support. Now you might be thinking, why output field? Why not in input field? Because if it is input field, then there is no concept of inline edit, right? Input field itself is a input text box. So there you don't even need to double click or something, right? It comes into picture only if it is an output field. Got it? So output field basically displays the read-only data. Now you can double click on this and edit it. Okay. Now if you try to double click on the stage, nothing will happen. Why? Because inline edit support is not here. It was only within this area. Correct. So if you want inline edit support on a specific column, then use it this way. If you want it on the entire table, then use it the other way. That V9, the other example that we talked about. Got it? Clear? Please let me know if you have any questions here. If you do have doubt here.
Some not about this, but some other question, Jeet.
Please tell me.
I mean, can we like restrict the limit of that particular records? You told that by default it is 20, right? Can we limit it to like 10?
No. Standard is standard. So you cannot change anything on the standard. When you come to the other type of controller custom, there you can do whatever you can make computer understand. You can do that. Fine. But standard is where we are not able to do too many things. Correct.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. All right. So this is more or less about our standard list controller. So what we have seen is we display the data the same way we have displayed it in our standard controller, just that we are using a record set var, and that record set var is used for storing the list of records which we are displaying. Okay, so that is one thing. Now there is one more example, a small example that I'm gonna do.
Jeet, sorry, I'm stopping you over there. Jeet, why did we not close this output field wala line in that very line itself? I mean, after
Because
this
I
mount,
wanted
you wanted this
inline edited support, right? Inside it, right?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to do one more example. It's a very basic kind of an example which I'm going to do, and we will see creating a table of related list records, right? So if you are using a standard controller and you want to create a table of related contacts, then how do you do that? So it's pretty simple. You will just define the page and say standard controller equals account. Okay, so this is a standard controller that I'm talking about. In that standard controller, I want to create a table for the list of child records. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and say text page block. That's fine. And I'll give it a title called list of child records. So we have done that using related list component. Remember, we have displayed list of child records using related list component. Now we are going to do that using table. So now, because you understand how to use a table component, so I'll just use apex page block table, and then in that table value will be your account dot contacts. Okay, because I want to display all the contacts under the account. Okay, and variable can be anything. C apex column value will become C dot first name and then C dot last name C dot email So basically what I'm doing, I'm trying to create a table of the contacts under a particular account. So this is a normal standard controller, but there I'm displaying list of contacts. Let me just go to any of these accounts, take the ID. Because this is a standard controller, you have to supply the ID. Oh, sorry. See, it just has one record. Let me go to this one. Okay, so we are talking about edge communication. Under edge communication, I have two contacts. So I have created a table of the contacts under this account. Correct. So this will give you greater, control over the list, child records or the related list also, which field you want, which you do not want, where you want to put that field, right? You want to allow some inline edit kind of a thing, that sort of stuff, small things that you can, put into the table. Related list component gives you a, default list of child records, But if you want to control it the way you want this to display the facts at the first column. So those things can be done. Right. So basically, using a table for the related list can also be done, and that will give you greater controls on the list child records. All right. Okay. So anyone has a question here on this? So I think we have done quite a few pages on the standard list controller. Suresh, please share these pages with me once